Hello there. Match day 5 in Major League Soccer just ended. We have everything to talk about week 5 action, best and worst. We got some top and bottom performers. And then we have to run over our betting picks from this weekend. Thank you for checking in on the Designated Pundits. I'm Bob here today with Scott and Alex. Gentlemen, how you doing today?
So good, man. So good.
All right.
Great. I'm glad we got that out of the way, guys.
Yeah.
It was a fantastic match day 5 for us here on the show. We're going to run over quickly and talk about those bets before we get into the real beef of the episode today.
Mm-hmm.
See a lot of green and red on there. No pushes this week, but we had overall a really nice performance. I went 4-2, Scott 2-2, but a plus half a unit because he's playing those plus plays. Sir Alex, second show in a row, the hottest of us, 3-1 last week, 2-1 this week with a 1.42 units in the positive. Loving to see that. And when we go over the week, overall we went 9-8 on 17 wagers, plus 2.74 units. It's a little more than slow and steady wins the race at this point. Looks like we're really having a great season so far because on 5 matches, we are 47-41 on 88 wagers with a plus 13.81 units. Looked a little better, but before 3 of us lost the same bet early on Sunday afternoon, but 13.81 units over 5 match days is still a fantastic return. Better than you're going to get it's better than you're going to get in this economy. For sure.
That is the truth. That is the truth. That Sunday bet really killed me, man.
Yeah, it really killed us. That was, of course, San Diego FC not winning or drawing and not letting under 3.5 go out. Well, I guess we hit on that part, but come on, guys. We're going to talk about that in our a few later segments when we complain about some bets we lost, some bad beats. But first, we're going to start out with the best we saw this weekend. Alex, we're going to go to you first because I absolutely agree on your pick 100%. LAFC was without Denny Bouanga, but they brought in under, and then they had this kid, David Martinez, who's been lighting it up all season long.
Yeah, he's not going to be in this league much longer. He's got to be jumping to Europe. This kid is something else. Under the radar signing, wasn't a lot of hoopla when they got him, but man, he's exciting to watch. This goal was just all. You can't coach what he did. It's hard to describe. We don't have the video clip here. I came on late to let you know what that is. But if you can look this up, the goal he scored against Sporting Kansas City is fantastic.
Absolutely, and he's been having like these bangers, breakaways. I remember the last game, LAFC was beaten pretty badly in the one match that he scored in, and it was like the late end of the game. He dribbled past 6 guys into the box, well into the box, and scored. This was a kind of a far, almost reminiscent of the Gutierrez goal. No, not Gutierrez. Gutman goal from Chicago Fire from the previous week. Excellent stuff there. And we're gonna go now to Scott, your favorite goal, which we do have a clip of.
Yeah, this is Marco Pasalic with an absolute worldie. Just really pay attention to the buildup. We missed a little bit of it. It's very slick interplay, interpassing. But Pasalic with just the best strike you will ever see. Lefty. Just, I love the way this ball hits the net and just wants to hang up in there. That ball is just traveling. It's got bend. It's got whip. The goalie is just a spectator there to make the picture look good. It just doesn't get any better than that. And
top shelf cookie jar right there. That's where that shot is. Yeah.
And I love the fact that it had really, really good, high quality interplay on the buildup too. It's a really, really quality buildup. It's a very high quality goal from Orlando. So I love that. I love all of it.
Then, of course, one of 4 goals Orlando City scored in the DC United match. We won on that because the bet there was both teams to score and over 2.5 goals. We had to wait to the 91st minute with McNaughton doing it on a pass from Benteke. But 4-1 Orlando City, they were in complete control of the game. Martin Ojeda, 1 goal, 2 assists, 30 of 33 passing, and 3 of his 6 shots were on target. We also saw Alexander Freeman with another goal. Muriel started it in the 21st minute. A lot of really good things there for Orlando. I would have put the whole team down as one of the best things I saw this week. Okay, my best thing I saw this week was fiery Canadian coaches. First, at Red Bull Arena, we had Robin Fraser get a yellow card at halftime. Now, this to me, I thought it was going to be a little more than a yellow card because stadium security came over. It was him and two assistant coaches yelling at one of the refs. The other ref came over. It was like kind of a big awkward scene because, you know, the grounds crew's trying to set up the little kid nets for bringing the kids on to play their game. He way overstays his welcome. I thought it was very inappropriate. I do appreciate him standing up for his players and what he thought were some pretty poor calls in that match. But yeah, Robin Fraser got a little too fiery, got shown a yellow as he was turning away. And the next day, Jesse Marsh, this was on Sunday, gets a red card for a play that ended up not having ever been a penalty. There was no contact on a play. A Canadian player went down in the box. He thought it should have been a penalty. And I think what really happened was he had all that fire built up inside because of bad plays made against Canada during the entire tournament, the entire two matches. Kind of built up, came to a firing point, and he lost it. First of all, he ran into the U.S. coach's box, and then he ran onto the field, and that's kind of a sign that you're going to get shown off. He did get the red, but his team picked up 2-1, so I guess the fieriness of Jesse Marsh paid off in that one. And the last one is...
he was just ready to battle, you know? He was ready to fight for a call that wasn't even a foul. His team
he wanted the U.S. job. He wanted to stick it to U.S. What stop sugarcoating? That's why he did what he did. Come on, man. That's what this is all about. He wanted the U.S. job. We did not give it to him. And any close call he didn't get, he was going to flip out. He needed that game more than anybody else in that stadium, and he got it. That's exactly what he did. Say what you want about Jason Marsh. Love or hate him, he's very passionate and with his beliefs and his style of play.
Yeah, and Pochettino couldn't be any more opposite in his approach. And I really want to see what happened when Marsh went into his box, whether it was an intentional infringement of space or whether it was just happened to be on his way to running on the field. I don't know what the answer is. I haven't caught that video yet. But the last, and this is less of a fiery coach, but Laurent Courtois, coach this last game for Montreal, he was fired. The first casualty of the season here for Montreal. I saw Tom Bogert tweet out earlier that they have spent $0 on designated players since 2014. That is 11 years. Of course, they compared it with all the other teams spending 24, 44, whatever $1 million in transfer fees. Montreal's getting their guys on the cheap, literally free transfers. As you see, Vrioni, who they brought in this year, it's not a recipe for success there. We knew at the beginning of the season that this team was not good enough for anything. And I'm almost a little bit surprised for, Saputo didn't know that his roster was hot garbage. Like, did he think a coach could have had any effect? I don't think there's a coach in the country, in the world, that is going to turn the CF Montreal team around without serious investment in what's going on the field.
He honestly did Laurent Courtois a favor by letting him go, because that whole organization right now is just kind of set up to fail. They haven't done enough as far as their DPs, as far as their investment. The roster is not competitive enough. Courtois did a great job just getting them into a playoff game last season, So I don't know what the expectation was this year, but they didn't do anything. If the expectation was anything more than lose every game, they didn't do anything to support the coach in that expectation.
They got 1 draw and 4 losses so far on the young season. It's an awful squad. They had 2 of 8 shots on target, 0.42 expected goals, got shut out 3-0 by Nashville. You got to come into something better than that.
Oh yeah.
Let's now
Montreal 9 out of the first 12 on the road. I mean, they weren't going to get a lot of points as is, so I don't know what ownership is thinking. I mean, you look at the roster, a lot of young talent, yes, but it's young. No veteran lead, nothing, like no big name players, anything like that. They're in for a long year. They're going to be, 9 out of 12 first on the road. They're behind the 8 ball early. And they're going to,
I think, because of the weather.
I think they also got stadium reconstruction again. I'm unsure. Maybe Olympic Stadium. Something's going on. I read something. I'm not sure, but still, 9 out of 12 on the road to being the ownership should have been more understanding of the situation. They, anything close to 500, they would have pulled off a 9 out of the first 12 on the road. Congratulations, but they're not going to be able to pull that off.
Now for the worst thing you saw this week, and mine is pretty obvious. It's Ariath Piol from RSL getting a red card, I think 20 minutes into the match. It was quite early. It was 23 minutes into the match. And just to set it up for you, it's at midfield. Piol is a striker. There was no threat in any side of the field. It was just a regular run of the play. And you kind of see a challenge here. Then the ball comes loose. Piol steps for it. Now, he does step kind of studs to the heel towards the ball. But I do think that is a honest attempt at the ball. The opposing player whips his foot in there, catches the worst of it. I think that in slow motion, it looks worse. In the run of play, that is completely inconsequential. I think that is a problem. And for me, you really need to watch it 15 times to come up with why it should have been a red card. It was a slow play. He obviously put his foot exactly where the ball was. It was not a tackle intentionally on the other player. And Scott, I want to know, because you are the RSL fan, what the thought was there. Yes, it was clumsy. Maybe he had no business putting his foot there, but I think a red is incredibly difficult for me to justify there.
Look, it's a tough one, because as soon as you show your studs and you make stud to ankle contact, you are letting the ref make a decision. And I have been unpopular on RSL social media for saying that, but it's true. As soon as you put your studs into a position like that, you are letting the ref make a decision. And Sergi Boyko, the official, has the track record of making those decisions. For me, I guess the point is, like, I'm not so caught up in should that be a red card, should that not be a red card. You can talk about Sergi Boyko's decision making forever, but I always approach it as a player. As a player, you're in control. As a player, you know that Sergi Boyko makes those decisions. Don't show your studs, right? The truth is there is a foul that Sergi Boyko calls before this play happens. The end result of all of that is an RSL free kick. And so I think as a player, you need to be more aware of what's going on. You need to be a little bit stronger in the way that you challenge for the ball, and making sure that you're challenging through the ball, not over the ball. So for me, I'm going back to Ari Piol, who is a very young player. And if I'm the coaching, I'm just saying, like, hey, we need to address the way that we approach these situations so we don't put ourselves into a bad situation where the ref can throw us out.
Absolutely, I do agree with that sentiment. However, if you actually look, Piol looks to take the worst of it, because the way the ball is cleared and the challenging player, I don't know who that was for FC Dallas, really put his foot through it. Piol's knee kind of wiggles back a little bit. He was like halfway to going a like 3/4 flamingo.
He totally takes a shot in it. Truthfully, and this is the big, like, if you want to argue, is this a red card? Is this not a red card? The thing for me that I think is most relevant is that most of the force, most of the momentum comes from the Dallas player. It's his movement, it's his momentum, it's his swing that causes most of that. Yeah, Piol steps down onto him, but if the Dallas player's not running, that's just like a step on the foot, and that's a yellow card at most. And so that's the thing where for me, like, you want to argue this isn't a red card, that's where it is.
Absolutely. RSL did have two players go down with an injury in that match, which could also complicate things. Patrick Delgado left hurt, and Pablo Ruiz left the pitch hurt. So we're going to keep an eye on that throughout the season, throughout the week, hopefully not the season.
Ruiz just had like a little cut that he picked up in the first half, a little head-to-head, had to get some treatment. Then he was on a yellow card, so they pulled him off for that. So nothing to be concerned about. I don't think for either of those players.
We're going to go back to 4:30 on Saturday for Alex's worst of the week. And just to kind of set this up, Kelvin Yeboah hit a penalty in the 87th minute, giving Minnesota United the lead. There was a ref missed penalty in this match. It could have been 3-1 Minnesota. There were a lot of back and forth. This was actually a pretty good match between Minnesota and the LA Galaxy. Enter Alex's worst of the week.
Again, Minnesota blows a lead. We all took them for the week.
Mhm.
2-1. I'm at Red Bull Arena. I'm in the press thing. I go, look at this. Yeboah, 2-1, late, 87th minute, in the bag. And no, it's not in the bag. Again, another blown lead by Minnesota. I mean, you want to be a cup contender. You can't be continuing blowing leads. 3-0 last week against Sporting Kansas. 2 weeks ago. Now this 2-1. Listen, you want trophies. You can't be blowing leads. Minnesota's got to tighten this stuff up late in games to get the 3 points. You're up that late. You have to finish these teams off, and they're not doing that right now.
You had Bongi Longwane miss 2 big chances, 0.71 expected goals and 0.57 expected assists. He had 0 on either side. Of course, there was the missed penalty. Minnesota United had a really good chance without Paintsil, Puig, Royce to get a win against Galaxy at home early, and they could not do it. 3.07 expected goals for Minnesota, 0.7 expected goals for the LA Galaxy. Scott.
Yeah, I just think Minnesota is not doing a good job at maintaining the ball. When you're up in these games, the best way to see out a game is to have control of the ball. Don't let the other team be, hoofing it down your throat. And Minnesota is just going back into that shell. They're relying on their defense, but no Dane St. Clair today or Saturday, right? Because he's off on international duty. Backup goalkeeper. I'm sure you have plenty of trust in your backup goalkeeper. That's not really the point. The point is you're just not at full strength. So why don't you do a little bit more to try and possess the ball, try and see it out? And you're right. You got to finish your chances. You go up by, another goal. Maybe that's enough. But like we saw it against Sporting Kansas City, they were up by a clear 3 goals and it wasn't enough. So I just think this team takes their foot off the gas. They're counting their ducks before they hatch. That's not a recipe for success.
Absolutely not. Another team without a recipe for success is San Diego FC. They got their first loss of the season at Austin, and I know, Scott, you want to talk about that as one of your worst of the week.
Yeah, it's San Diego's defense. They just absolutely switched off, went to sleep, took a nap on this second goal. You see it's a foul, and Owen Wolf and Gallagher are the only 2 guys on the field with their heads up, the only 2 guys thinking. Owen Wolf plays the easiest pass of his life. That's the easiest assist he'll ever record. Gallagher just runs away from his defender. They start together, and by the time Gallagher enters the box, there's a clear 10 or 15 yards of space between them. And then it's just a one-on-one breakaway. I mean, just look at him run away from his defender here. Just can't keep up. Defense nowhere to be seen. This is just really sad. Worst thing I saw all week.
Owen Wolf completed 17 of 23 of his passes. He had 3 tackles, 0.32 expected assists, and you see what happens there. And the weird thing there, the defender keeping him on side, that was the right back, he's clear as day inside the picture. Like, he is way
well, I mean, the
keeping
whole
him
thing,
on side. I mean, in fairness, it's on the other side of the half line, so there would have been no offsides anyway because it was not on in the opposing team's half, but yuck.
It's like a 60-yard breakaway. It starts, 10 yards inside his own half. For me, I know that San Diego, when we previewed them, the San Diego guys were talking about this team living and dying by, that counterattack sword. But I think it is really naive for the defenders to be in the positions that they're in at this, when this foul is committed. You see the 2 players around the ball turn around and put their head down like this is going to take some time or something like that. That ball is, 20 yards downfield before they even look up. So just really naive, really amateurish from them.
I wonder how much of that also comes into knowing your ref's tendencies. We already talked about how a ref can influence a game in RSL. Mm-hmm. And I don't know the answer, but I'm just kind of just shooting at the hip here. So this isn't something I considered to talk about before the episode. But sometimes you see refs call that back 10 times. Like, I've seen games where the ref will not allow fast play at all. That play, you could see there are players, I'll just play the very beginning of the clip. They're standing around with their hands on their hips. Like they think this is going to take more time. And then the ref takes off. He's like standing still. And then I got to run. And then he goes. You do see that called dead sometimes. I'm not sure exactly what the logistics behind the rule is or if it's up to a ref's interpretation, but that's something to keep an eye on too.
I mean, there's just a couple of things that the ref has to look for. One is the ball moving. In this case, the ball wasn't. The San Diego player very helpfully stopped the ball to make sure it wasn't moving before he walked away. Two is the ball, at or near the spot of the foul. Is it, too far away? The San Diego player, once again, very helpfully stops the ball at the spot of the foul to make sure it doesn't go away before turning around to walk away. So... And then I guess the third thing would be is, does the ref have to issue a card or something like that? Does he have to do some disciplinary thing that he should stop the game for? And in this case, he doesn't. It's a regular foul. There's no extra talking to or warnings or discipline needed. So there's no reason for him to stop it. So, yeah.
I love it. Even the cameraman didn't know what was going on. The cameraman zoomed in on Brandon Vasquez just slowly jogging downfield. Hey, maybe something's going to happen here. Mm-hmm. All right. Now... from the best to the worst, we have our player of the week and our not player of the week. I'll start first. My first player of the week, Pep Biel, 11-minute goal gets Charlotte SC on the right side of things. And while their defense has always been fantastic, they had 2.83 expected goals. They scored 4 times in this one. Pep Biel assisted on the third and fourth goals. He had 1 goal, 2 assists, 19 of 22 passes completed, 9 of 19 duels. And this is the first game for me. If you look at his heat maps from his other matches, he's always pushing out wide and doing this other stuff. In this game, Pep Biel had the whole center of the field. That is what he did. He finally looked like a true distributing number 10. Like his positioning was fantastic. I'm not sure if Coach Smith there has a plan for him or just kind of says, hey, you do what you want, because this team is incredibly organized from the back 7 players. But Pep Biel really looked like he had a whole lot of freedom and really lived up to the part here. And for me, he's absolutely the player of the week. My not player of the week is going to be a defender, Alvis Powell from FC Cincinnati. Not a player, not a team that we usually have on the wrong side of things here. But it's just a really, really simple play for me. He got his body in the wrong position and gave up an own goal. And this is another situation where some points slipped by. Cincinnati's up 2-1 late in the game, 88th minute. He puts his foot out in a position where, okay, I get it. He's cutting off a pass, but then you got to do something with it. Like send it away. You could say he reaches so hard for that ball, and there's nowhere else. I think the ball probably his foot's probably in a better position. The force of the ball from that speed, from that direction, probably pushed his foot a little bit out of the way, and it ended up going into the net. It's not necessarily a poor play for him as much as it's like that's the time you don't want to do it. 88 minutes, your team's going to walk away with 3 points, and your new 10, Evander, just lit the world on fire, scored 2 goals in a very short amount of time. I want to say it was like 5 minutes or 10 minutes, something like that, and they were up 2-1. It was, it was a clear home. And it happens at the worst possible time. Again, not something I'm blaming him for, but FC Cincinnati was at home. They were getting shown out. Although they had possession, they had only 6 of 13 shots on target. 0.74 home XG against Atlanta United's 2.15. And Evander, again, because kind of setting this team on fire, he finally took the step forward and started looking like a complete midfield. Not just him, but Pavel Buka too looked good. And this midfield has been a complete weakness for the team over the course of the beginning of the season. So terrible timing for one of the better defenders in the league. Again, it's not necessarily something I'm going to blame on him, but it's unfortunate. Maybe if he started his run back a little, it looked like there was a little bit of hesitation somewhere. I don't know what he could have done differently. I'm not going to pretend like I'm but it just, you see he kind of double hitched there, took a couple slow steps, and that long stride is what puts his foot in the bad position.
He just loses track of the forward that he's marking. He thinks he's got a guy on his shoulder. He thinks if he lets that ball through, that the forward has a tap in, and that's not the case. There's a breakdown in communication, a breakdown in awareness of what's going on around him there. That's an unfortunate mistake to make.
And Scott, we had something similar. You also had Pep Beal, and you're not a player, was San Diego's defense as a whole. We already discussed that breakaway on the second goal there.
We already discussed the breakaway. I don't have anything to add on Pep Biel. He was fabulous, incredibly influential for a very good Charlotte team. San Diego's defense, the one other thing that I want to just point out, Brandon Vasquez has not looked good to start the season. And he should have scored 4.
He looked really bad in the fact that he missed 2 opportunities. I think he might have hit the woodwork at some point too.
I don't think he hit the woodwork. He had like 3 shots that he didn't score on that when you watch it back, you're just like, if you're a professional,
when he's in Cincinnati, he puts those away. It's that simple. Yeah, when he's in Cincinnati, he put those away easily. And Bukhari too, the right wing on the right side, missed I don't know how many chances in the second half for Austin in that game. San Diego's lucky they lost 2-1, by the way, that game. Austin should have put half of those chances away with a 5-2 win. Half.
In a way, Austin was lucky they didn't give up the win late. San Diego was pressing and they had some chances.
Official possession percentage, San Diego 76, Austin 24.
Yeah, just
Austin had some breakaways. They had so many, but it seemed like easy goals coming from Vasquez and Bukhari, and also like what the last time, like you know what I mean? It was just like I don't know, man. Listen, Vasquez. I still think he's going to turn it around. I think just one of those days where it just wasn't his day. I don't think it's anything to be. I don't think it's going to be ongoing. I really don't.
He's had 5 of them so far, man. I'm starting to think this is who he is, just a guy.
He's going to get chances, and if he keeps missing, they're going to get him at her, but I think he's going to be putting him away eventually.
Alex, you had a player of the week and not player of the week. Your player of the week was Hugo Kuipers from Chicago. Yes,
another goal by Chicago Fire, who had this winning in Vancouver, beating the under-2 Vancouver. Berhalter ball is back in MLS. They're scoring goals. They're winning games. And right now, I like this guy to be a favor for the Golden Boot winner at the end of the year. If he keeps scoring, Chicago Fire is going to definitely be in the playoffs. It's that simple. And he seems to be happy. Physical presence up front. He could put the ball away in the box. I like this guy right here. I really like what Chicago Fire's doing. I like what Kuiper's doing as right now. And he's my player of the week because they won in Vancouver against an undefeated team. He had a goal in that game. As long as he scores, Chicago will be doing well.
I don't think he was even the best player for Chicago in that match. You know, we had Alex Campbell here last week to talk about the Chicago Fire, and it was Zinkernagel. He had the first assist a minute into the game. He had his own goal in the 62nd minute. And then at the very, very end of the game in stoppage time, playing only 9 minutes, Kwame, their new, I guess he's like a midfielder, came in and did that. Kuipers ends up with a goal, 0.97 XG, 1 shot on target. And then you had Zinkernagel, 0.57 XG, 0.61 XA, 4 of 7 on his dribbles, and a 69th minute goal.
My boy Kuipers just scored a lot of goals this year. That's why I think he's going to be a Golden Boot, definitely a contender.
I think Chicago you're not very well set up for that. Yeah,
you're not player of the week, Alex.
This is pretty simple, mate. This is the U.S. national team, the men's national team. Another tournament, new coach. Oh, new buzz. We're all happy. Oh, we got a name coach. What happens? It doesn't matter. Panama beat us. Turner, totally out of position and on goal. I don't care what anybody says. No way Tony Miola misses that. Tim Howard misses that. Brad Fiedel misses that shot. He's not even playing regularly. Why is he even in this game? Then we go play Canada. Lost 2-1. Both games at home. Nobody in the crowd playing in SoFi. Tickets are $500 a pop, upper deck and crap like this. I don't know what's going on, but this is ugly. U.S. national team, they're overhyped. We all believed. We've all been fooled. This team is not anywhere close to winning any kind of World Cup. I don't want to hear it. We don't have any player on any top 3 team in any league in the world. No one's playing for Real Madrid, Barcelona, Bayern Munich, Liverpool, and we have these expectations on these players in Europe. They're playing 14th place Bournemouth, 9th place AC Milan. So, they're in Europe. They're going to be great. Their heads are big. They're not playing with their heart. In this game, there was 2 guys that really played with heart to me. It was Arfison with that chase down, got David when Marsh got the red card. It wasn't a red card. He actually showed some heart, and Diego Luna. Ajimon to a point, he had a goal, but everybody else is just, they think putting on the shirt, they're going to get the victory. And just like Pochettino said, these guys, they're lacking something. Their killer instinct is not there. The toughness, the mentality is not there. And I don't see it coming in the World Cup. I really don't. And I think we got to bring these expectations way down. It's out of control. It really is out of control at this time.
I think what someone said online, and I don't want to guess at who it was someone associated with the U.S. men's national team, said that when you look at teams in the past, you look at players like Donovan, it doesn't matter what team he played for, he was the bus driver of that team.
Exactly. Because you go to Europe,
the guy who everything went through. And even when you look at, a guy like Christian Pulisic, who I think is one of probably the most talented, and at the end of his career, he will be the best United States player to ever put on a uniform. But he's not the guy on his team. He's a role player. He's very good at it. He's a goal scorer, but he's not the quarterback. He's not the guy on his team. And you see that when he's on the sideline. And I know people said he had bad body language. He kind of shrugged. That to me doesn't really mean too much. I think that he does want to win. He wants to win with this team, but he doesn't carry the team in and out. And the closest we kind of had was Reyna, but we need someone in, and even if it means taking a step back to Major League Soccer, like, could Brian Gutierrez have played better than anyone else on the field? Maybe. Like, I don't know what to say.
Listen, we have a lot of injuries. But it's not an excuse. We do have a lot of injuries. Don't get me wrong. How many forwards are out? Dest is out. I mean, we have injuries, but at the same time, there was no fight. Like Western McKinney, where was the fight that I've seen before? It was not there. Where is it? I just really don't say. We're playing Josh Sargent, a championship player. 5 years he hasn't scored a goal for the U.S. national team. Why are you giving this guy another chance? What, 6 years he's going to start scoring? Seriously, he's the championship player. Stop bringing him up. Seriously.
My favorite was that he basically touched the ball 3 times. He played 70 minutes. He had
they're like, oh my God, Sargent's going to be our starting forward. The guy's a championship. He plays in the championship to 14th. And you want to win a World Cup? Let's get these expectations back. Let's bring this down a notch or two. Hello, seriously, come on,
Bob. To your point, I do think you're right about taking this team back to Major League Soccer. I was thinking about this heavily this weekend. Major League Soccer is a good preparation ground for international play because every week in Major League Soccer it is a battle. You don't have rosters that can just overwhelm any other roster in the league all that often, right? You're usually only a couple of nice players better than any other given team in the league. And if you have an injury or an off day, or they are having a good day, you can be equal with any other team in the league. And so you have to go out and you have to battle and you have to do the dirty work to be competitive. And that's what the international game is all about. Sasha Kleshin had a great tweet about it. You have to make your tackles. You have to win your duels. It's not about the tactics and shape the way it is with club ball.
Yeah, I agree. You don't have as much time to study. You don't have as much time together. And it is a new coach. It is, I guess, a kind of a new system. You have some new players in there. But yeah, it's definitely just not good enough.
The second tournament in a row, our expectations we were totally let down. Copa America, Berhalter, now this. And 2 different coaches. So now, who are you going to blame now? You got to blame it on the players. What's the common denominator here? It's the players.
Yeah.
It's players.
Yeah. They're not up for it.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, you had Berhalter playing in the Berhalter Derby, Vancouver Whitecaps with his son, who was actually on the losing team and also still named player of the match. He
was really good at that game. He was pretty good at the game.
84 touches.
He's a good player, man. He's a good player. He's a good player, man. Let's not. Just because his name Berhalter doesn't. He's a really good player.
3 key passes, 2 clearances, 4 interceptions, 3 tackles. Not only was he all over the midfield, he was contributing on defense too. So I think that his SOFA score was the highest out of every player, including Zinkernagel, who had a goal and an assist in this match.
Wild. Well, I think we have one more segment here, upsets or surprises, and I think we have just enough time for it. Bob, you've got a couple in here.
Yeah, my first one was LA Galaxy over Minnesota United. We all had, or 3 of us had a Minnesota United pro play. And LA Galaxy said, no thanks, we're going to draw this match instead. We talked about how that happened in what poor fashion. And, you know, I just think that LA Galaxy is going to be one of those teams all season that maybe we just shouldn't be betting on. And maybe Minnesota United the same. Like, until their defense proves that they can close out a game, I can't trust Minnesota. But LA Galaxy is going to be incredibly hard to bet for or against either, because we've seen them put up real big stinkers this season, but then they play this game and they looked real good in a really tough place to play. So I think that is a upset and a surprise of the week.
I think it's the second week in a row too that Christian Ramirez has gotten sort of a half chance that he has turned into a really nice goal, which is kind of the thing that we thought he would do at the beginning of the season, but that until recently he hasn't really done. So just what you're saying, it's going to be hard to know who's going to show up for that Galaxy team. Speaking of hard to know who's going to show up, Portland just ran over Colorado. This is a Colorado team that I think is pretty good. I think you guys also think this Colorado team is pretty decent.
Yeah,
especially at home.
Mm-hmm.
Especially at home.
A home game in front of a decent crowd. Portland showed up and won 3-0. And this is a Portland team that has just been struggling all season. Their offense doesn't look good. Their defense doesn't look good. I didn't think that. I know Colorado played a young goalkeeper, 18 years old, Adam Beaudry. I thought he actually had a pretty good game. I thought he made the saves that he's supposed to make. The Kevin Denke goal at the end, that is an expected goal on target of 0.98. So, you know, he's not supposed to save that. The own goal, you know, very fluky. Anyway, I thought Colorado's defense in front of him looked really bad. I thought the midfield was all over the shop. I was very surprised at the way that those two teams matched up, the way that game turned out.
Absolutely. I want to correct you there. Kevin Kelsey, not Kevin Denke.
Yes.
Goal there.
Thank you.
One of my things here that I really loved about Timbers is David DaCosta looked like the best player on the field. I mean, what a signing. 42 of 50 passing, 2 of 3 crosses, 2 of 4 long balls, 0.65 expected assists. If this game day taught me anything, it was like, okay, Dallas had Acosta missed a penalty, but then he scored an incredible goal in like 7-minute stoppage time in the first half. He ended up having an amazing game there. And then you have DaCosta, turns out like he contributed for Portland. And then like all the number 10s who switched places, Evander scored 2 goals. We were waiting for DaCosta. We were waiting for Acosta. We were waiting for Evander. We were waiting for all these guys, and it seemed like all 3 of them clicked kind of in the same day. So if you wonder how many games it takes you at the beginning of a season for a number 10 to settle in, 5. That's it. That's the number 5.
Yeah, it is. It's about the time too. I think we're going to start seeing teams play a little bit sharper. This is about the time it takes for teams to really get going. Match fitness is building up. Sharpness on the ball is building up. The MLS 360 crew was talking about it. Former players, Dax McCarty, Sasha Kleshtin, Bradley Wright Phillips, they know what they're talking about.
Love it. All right, so that's it for MLS Matchday 5. Make sure you join us when we are live, 8:30 p.m. every Monday to recap the weekend, and Thursday, 8 o'clock, as we make predictions for MLS Matchday 6. Coming, I can't believe we're, what is that, like a sixth of the way into the Major League Soccer season? I got to do the math. I don't know. I'm a sports guy, not a math guy. But we're going to find that out for you. We'll be right here to cover it each and every week. Thank you for joining us on the Designated Pundits.